World Review begins now. Yeah, and of course a very wonderful afternoon to you out there once again. Honor the sound of my voice. Yeah, it's Good Friday 2022. Jumat Mubarak to the Muslim faithful out there under the sound of my voice right now. And of course, should I say Easter Friday or should I say Happy Good Friday? Of course, to the Christian faithful under the sound of my voice this beautiful Friday afternoon. Yeah, once again, my name is Ajibola Samuel. This is World in Review. Okay, it's 2:26 p.m. Nigerian time, the studios of King 103.9 FM. And of course, it's time once again to bring you that exciting show. Of course, where we'll discuss all the news that happened outside of the shores of Nigeria, bring you all the news that trended in the international scene throughout the course of the week. We try as much as possible to break things down for you, give you an analytical and a periscopical view of the news, so as to have a perfect understanding of what's going on around the world. Yeah, Mr. Adamolekun is with me in the studio this afternoon, and well, it's good vibes. It's good vibes. Good Friday. Of course, I've said it. Triple reasons to be joyous. It's a very wonderful, sunny, bright Friday afternoon. It's Easter, or let me say Good Friday today. And of course, for the Muslim faithfuls, I think once again, if my memory serves me right, this second Jumat in Ramadan, Hijrah 1443. Okay, without further ado, time is fast spent already. Abolade Sodiq did well today. Tried as much as possible to, maintain that time of using, the 15 minutes allocated to the news crew. And of course, unfortunately, there was a sponsored program that, took a bit of my time. That is why we are starting a little bit behind schedule. Apologies. Without further ado, let's delve into the various stories, even though the time, I have in front of me would not be enough to do justice to all the news that I've packaged throughout this week, but we'll try as much as possible to make judicious use of the time. My name once again is Ajibola Samuel. This is Word and Review on this dial, King 103.9 FM, and the program is being streamed live right now on Facebook, so you probably want to put a face to the voice that you are hearing on the station right now. King FM 1039 Ibadan. You write it together as one word, no space. King FM 1039 Ibadan. So you get to put a face to the voice you are hearing right now in the city of King FM, and of course you get exclusive access to the various programs that are heard on this station, and of course you get to watch the various contents that have been broadcasted live on our platform. Once again, this is Ajibola Samuel, Word and Review on this dial, and without further ado, let's delve into the various stories. Okay, just like we do, we start from the African continent before we go to other part of the world. Starting from the African continent once again, the WHO has been warning us for some couple of weeks right now. The official Ukraine invasion, the Russia invasion of Ukraine, has been, taking over the headlines, and of course, various news platforms across the world seems not to cater or not to care about other news happening in the background. Everybody has been reporting the Russia invasion of Ukraine, and while the report was going on, WHO keeps warning us that we should be careful and not let the Russia invasion of Ukraine actually sweep under the carpet the fact that COVID-19 is still very much amidst us, and COVID-19 still poses a very big threat. Even though Russia and Ukraine are, tied in war right now, the human race is still fighting the war against the virus COVID, and we have not won yet. Okay, yeah, COVID-19 related news. Botswana, a country in the southern part of Africa, detects a new COVID Omicron subvariant. The Botswana Health Ministry says it has detected a new lineage of the COVID-19 Omicron variant. The new subvariants, designated as Omicron BA.4 and Omicron BA.5, has already been detected in 3 other countries and on 4 people in Botswana. The 4 people were fully vaccinated and had been experiencing mild symptoms. So far, no conclusions have been made to establish whether the subvariant is more transmissible than the known Omicron variants. And of course, is like I said earlier, this happens as the World Health Organization actually announced it is tracking a few dozen cases of the two new subvariants of the highly transmissible Omicron strain to assess whether they are more infectious or dangerous. So as it stands right now, the Omicron variant has mutated once again, and we are now getting subvariants of the Omicron virus. It's been designated Omicron BA.5 and Omicron BA.4. Okay, we take a quick trip to South Africa right now and get to listen to an interview granted by one of the top South African health specialists, granting the interview to SABC to try and help us understand about this new subvariant of Omicron that was detected in Botswana.
Familiar from the kind of previous variants and lineages that we detect. That's the work that we're now doing, is to kind of characterize and analyze it and to see has this got different properties from the other lineages, other variants. And so that, as you know, that requires kind of working with the clinical and the epidemiological data, and it requires some of the laboratory work to see how these kind of react to the vaccines and things in the laboratory. Even more that because of the immunity that's built up in the population, unfortunately, from huge numbers of infection, as well as the vaccination, that immunity is protecting many of us from getting very sick with this virus. And that immunity has built up even more in the last few months as many of us got infected with Omicron on top of previous infections and on top of the vaccine.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you just listened to the voice of a top South African health journalist. Although, as of today, the 15th day in the month of April 2022. Okay, talking about the confirmed cases of COVID-19 across the 55 African continents, it has reached, as of today, 11,453,505. That's talking about the total number of cases that have been confirmed across 55 countries in the African continent. And it is said that 273,418,843 vaccinations have actually been administered across the 55 states of the African continent. Okay, in terms of death, it has been said that as of today, the 15th day in the month of April 2022, 252,449 deaths have been recorded, and it is said that 9,641,102 people have recovered from the COVID-19 virus across the different 55 countries that this statistics is actually taken from in the African continent. Still topping the list is South Africa with about 3,773 cases, 346. Okay, 3,737,346 cases, and it is said that a little bit over 100,000 people have died as a result of COVID-19 in South Africa. Okay, I leave the statistics and of course move on to other news that I've got for you today. Okay, climate change is something that we have been talking about across different social media platforms and across different news platforms, talking about how climate change is actually affecting the world and how it is expected to affect the world in the next couple of years. In fact, last year a report was released by a United Nations sub-organization about the need to actually curb the amount of green gases that humankind actually emits into the atmosphere. If you are not careful and we don't try as much as possible to reduce, the world might face doom that might be unfixable. Well, something related to COVID-19, well, at least they have blamed this on COVID-19. In South Africa earlier this week, there was a very massive flooding that attacked or that happened in the Durban area of South Africa, KwaZulu-Natal province. Yeah, heavy rains and flooding have killed at least 341 people in South Africa, Eastern KwaZulu-Natal province, including the city of ban, and it is said that more rainstorms are forecast in the coming days. Yeah, heavy rains and flooding actually killed about 341 people, although this is not the official figure. The numbers of cases keep rising. As at the time when I started monitoring this news, it was reported that just about 50 people have died, and in the space of 3 days, the number rose from just 53 to about 254. And as at the last count of my 254, as at this morning, about 341 people have been reported to have died, and thousands of people are still reported missing. Okay, it is said that the death toll, like I said, is temporarily closed at all schools in the province, and it said that at least 18 students and 1 teacher from various schools have died.
I hear like a thunderstorm. Thereafter, I hear the sound, the wall is falling under me. Then I shout.
Even though he saved himself. Time is fast spent already. I would have loved to take more of the voice ASAP so you can listen to the pains of the victim, but unfortunately time is fast spent on the show, so let's just try as much as possible to move forward. Okay, my thoughts and the entire staff of King FM, our prayers are with the families of those that lost their loved ones and those that are missing. We hope that God grants them the fortitude to bear the loss, and of course everything that has been lost will be reparated in other ways. Yeah, this is Word on Review on this dial, King 103.9 FM. You are listening to the voice of Ajibola Samoa, and of course, like I said earlier, this program is being streamed live right now on Facebook, so in case you haven't gotten the memo, King FM 1039 Ibadan. Write it together as one word, no space, and you get to put a face to the voice you are hearing in the studios of King FM 103.9 right now. Okay, moving forward quickly, let's leave on disasters and of course diseases. Let's talk something that is related to election. Okay, should I start from Somalia or I should talk about Gambia? Okay, in Gambia, there was an election that actually brought in the incumbent president, Adama Barrow, to another term in the country. And something interesting earlier happened this week. An ally of the Gambia's former dictator, Mr. Yahya Jammeh, was sworn in as the parliamentary speaker and the head of parliament on Thursday earlier this week after being appointed by President Adama Barrow, the national broadcaster actually reported. Okay, in case you haven't forgotten, back in 2017, it was a very feisty contest between Adama Barrow and Yahya Jammeh. At the end of the day, Yahya Jammeh actually lost that election, and he decided not to step down for Adama Barrow to emerge as the president of the country. The whole of Africa actually stood up and tried to fight for Adama Barrow, and after some couple of hard-fought battle, well, not really battle on the war scene, but some diplomatic battle and some democratic battle, Yahya Jammeh decided to step down and he was exiled out of that country. But lo and behold, just some couple of months to the election, the new president that the whole world and the whole of Africa supported to succeed Yahya Jammeh, in order to gain election or to be re-elected, actually formed some sort of alliance with the party of Yahya Jammeh, and it was said that the Yahya Jammeh, who had been exiled out of the country, would have some couple of say and a little bit of political power in the new Gambia that Adama Barrow had been elected to actually be the president for second term. Well, it seems analysts have not lied, as things are coming to show face right now. An ally of the former president Yahya Jammeh has now been elected as the speaker of the parliament. Former dictator Yahya Jammeh, like I said, fled into exile in January 2017 after a surprise loss at the ballot box to Adama Barrow. In case you don't know, the Yahya Jammeh is an ex-autocrat, actually ruled for about 22 years, and when he was booted out, he decided not to step down for the president that had just been voted for. But in order to cut the long story short, in a parliamentary election this month, the president and National People's Party won 18 out of 53 directly elected seats in the National Assembly. And on Thursday, the APRC leader Fabakary Tombong was sworn in as the Assembly Speaker, according to the national broadcaster and GRTS, as the new parliament sat for the very first time. Okay, let's cut the long story short. Take a quick trip to Zambia right now and get to listen to the voice of the man, former ally of Yahya Jammeh, who has actually been elected as the Speaker of Gambia. Okay, the next voice you'll be hearing is him actually taking the oath, the 3 oaths of office to become the Speaker of the Gambian new parliament.
I, Honorable Fabakary Tombong, do swear that I will execute the functions of the office of the Speaker of the National Assembly without fear or favor, affection or ill will, according to the Constitution and other laws of the Gambia. So help me God. Oath of allegiance. I, Honorable Fabakary Tombong, having been nominated as member of the National Assembly of the Republic of the Gambia, do hereby swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of the Gambia as by law established, that I shall execute the functions of member of the National Assembly without fear or favor, affection or ill will, according to the Constitution and other laws of the Gambia. So help me God. I, Honorable Fabakary Tombong, having been elected Speaker of the National Assembly, do swear that I will not directly or indirectly reveal.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the voice of the APRC leader, Mr. Fabakary Tombong, and taking the 3 oaths of office that the new elected speaker into the Gambian House of Parliament usually takes. Okay, and as it stands right now, he has actually is to oversee the runnings of the House of Parliament in Gambia. Okay, moving forward quickly, still talking about election. Okay, election in Somalia also held this week as members of parliament were also sworn in on Thursday earlier this week. But unfortunately, the time left on the show, the Somalia case is a very complex and a very complicated one. I would have loved to break it down for you, but I'll try as much as possible to do some bit of tidbits today on the show. Probably on subsequent edition of the show, we'll try as much as possible to break things down. Okay, this particular election in Somalia has been going on for months right now. It's been a very topsy-turvy and a very rigid battle between the president of the country, Mr. Abdullahi Farmajo, and the prime minister. It's been somewhat of a very crazy situation in that particular country, a very crazy political crisis. Well, in case you probably don't understand, the tenure of Abdullahi Farmajo actually came to an end, or was constitutionally supposed to come to an end on the 21st day of February 2021. But Mr. Abdullahi Farmajo decided not to step down because going into new elections in Somalia, the different head of autonomous states usually come together to draw a new constitution and a new guideline that will guide the new elections that will be held. So Mr. Abdullahi Farmajo, when his tenure actually expired, decided not to step down because the autonomous bodies have actually not met to decide how the elections would be held and how they would actually go about electing a new president. Okay, in case you don't know, there are about 6 provinces or 6 autonomous regions or 6 clans in Somalia that come together every now and then, I think every 4 years, to decide how the election to elect a new president would actually be decided. And the regions include Eshabelle, Jubaland, Puntland, the southwest regions, and of course the Gamuduk region. But talking about the election that is held, most of Somalia's new members of parliament have been sworn in a unique election for his parliament known as the House of the People. But the people in Somalia do not usually vote in a poll that has been dragging on for a record 4 months. Okay, and to break it down for you, in Somalia, only 1,000 people vote for the parliament, and the only 1,000 few people that vote for the parliament would actually represent 16 out of 16.3 million population in that country. Only a few thousand people actually vote for the parliament in that country, and this is because Somalia actually uses a complex and indirect political system, and political parties do not actually contest election in that country, nor do one person vote election take place. So in Nigeria here, where you can go to vote for the APC and or you go to vote for the PDP, in Somalia it doesn't happen like that. Just a few thousands of people vote for the members of parliament and of course the president. Okay, like I said earlier, political parties do not contest election, and the one-on-one election do not take place. Instead, a 275 member House of People is chosen by delegates appointed by clan leaders and members of civil societies who are selected by regional state officials. These members of parliament then vote for a president who leads the country, and of course a 55-member lower chamber, the Senate, representing the Somalia 5 regional states, also take part in the presidential vote. Okay, so in order to help you understand the something that might sound like a jargon that I've just said in some couple of moments ago, let me try as much as possible to go back to a particular point in time when Nigeria uses the parliamentary system. When of course we add 3 autonomous regions, talking about the eastern region, the western region, and of course the northern region. So this is how it happens in Somalia. Like I said, I've read out about 3 autonomous provinces that they had in Somalia. So this is what happened. Like Nigeria in the past, we had the western region, we had the eastern region, and we had the northern region. In Somalia, they have something of sorts, and those regions, the leaders of those regions actually appoint people that will be elected into House of Parliament. They call them, House of People. So the leaders of those autonomous regions will appoint different people, based on different criteria or criterion to actually represent their autonomous region in that House of Parliament, or what they call the House of People in Somalia. And the 275 people that are appointed by the 6 autonomous regions will now vote amongst themselves to appoint a president that would actually lead the country. And of course, another 54, members of lower chamber, the Senate, which represents the Somalia 5 regional states, also take part in this presidential vote. They are the ones that actually select the president that we held over the country. Okay, it shows a power of clans in Somalia. They form the backbone of the society in which the Western style of democracy has actually not taken roots. Like I said earlier, it's a very complicated electoral system in Somalia, and to break things down for you, I might need probably about 30 minutes or say 25 minutes to explicitly break things down so as to have a perfect understanding. But the good news is that there's been a very big topsy battle between the president and of course the prime minister. The prime minister believes that the tenure of the president has ended and he should have stepped down, and the president believes that since we have not elected members of parliament that will decide a new president, I cannot step down. But I guess this is more like a little bit of solution to the ongoing crisis in that country. Now that members of parliament have been appointed, probably the new members of parliament can now sit to decide on the election of a new president in that country. Okay, leaving that particular analysis, about 8 minutes left for me on the show. Let's take a quick trip outside of Africa and go to other part of the world. North America will be my first stop in the United States of America. Of course, there was a very big crazy incident that happened at a subway station in New York earlier this week. Okay, at 6:15 a.m. on the 12th of April 2022, okay, at 8:24 a.m., multiple people were shot on a northbound train on the New York City subway in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, after the train left the 59th Street station on the 4th Avenue. The attacker put on a gas mask, actually threw 2 smoke grenades onto the floor of a train car, and opened fire with a Glock 17 9mm handgun as the train approached the 36th Street station. He fired at least 33 shots and actually fled the scene after the attack. So once again, describing the incident, this young man that actually, okay, he's an old man. He has been described as a 62-year-old man, and his name was given. Actually, you know, through smoke grenades inside the train station, inside the train. You know, the smoke actually choked people, and after that, he, you know, brought out his handgun, fired about 33 shots, and at the end of the proceedings, you know, some couple of people were injured, and to a very large extent, we recorded victims. Where the FDNI said that there were 16 people injured and 10 of them with gunshot wounds, 5 of whom are in critical but stable condition. And at the end of the day, a total of 29 casualties were reported, 10 with direct gunshot wounds and 19 with other injuries. Okay, let's take a quick trip to New York right now and get to listen to the voice of some of the victims of the subway station attack in New York earlier this week.
He said it when the gunfire started, when that smoke bomb went off, it was the loudest sound he'd ever heard. In seconds, he was shot in the knee. 9 other people were shot as well before the gunfire suddenly just stopped. The gun jammed. And in that singular moment of unfathomable fortune, lives were saved.
All you see is like a black smoke bomb going off, and then people bum rushing to the back. This pregnant woman was in front of me. I was trying to help her. I didn't know they were shots at first. I just thought it was a black smoke bomb. She said, "I'm pregnant with a baby." I hugged her, and then the bum rush continued. I got pushed, and that's when I got shot in the back of my knee.
Everybody was calling, panicking, scared, you know how. And
what were you thinking?
I was like, what the I was shocked too, like what's going on? And you know, I've never seen something like this.
I think the gun jammed. I think he had like an extended clip or something, because I never heard that many shots come off a handgun.
The gunman escaped but left behind a bag filled with loaded magazines and commercial-grade fireworks.
Fell in the middle of the street, you know?
What did they look like?
They all got shot.
They were all shot?
Yeah, they all shot. They had shot. I seen gunshot wounds to their legs.
A wife and a husband was crying and was laying on the floor over there in that corner.
Okay, a suspect has actually been arrested. His name is Mr. Frank James, and of course, he's reported to be 62 years old. Okay, let's listen to the police actually giving us updates on that particular incident and the arrest of the suspects.
Looking for him, they see him on the corner of St. Mark's and First, and they take him into custody. No incident, and take him into custody.
It's 3 blocks from where we recovered the U-Haul truck that he rented in Philadelphia. We have witnesses on the train who said he was sitting in the back corner of the second car and he popped the smoke grenade. And we have one witness who says, what did you do? He goes, oops, and then he pops the 2, brandishes the firearm, and fires 33 times.
His face.
that after firing his weapon 33 times at innocent New York City subway riders, Mr. James boarded an R train that had pulled into the station, went one stop up, and exited at 25th Street Station. Possession of burglary tools 4 times, criminal sex act, theft of service 2 times.
He will be arraigned in federal court in Brooklyn, and if convicted, he will face a sentence of up to life in prison.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, time is fast spent. Let me try as much as possible to, squeeze this story in. Yeah, France elections are going on right now, and about 11 candidates were actually voted for in the first round of elections in France earlier this week. At the end of the day, it was a very feisty battle between the incumbent president Emmanuel Macron and Mrs. Marine Le Pen, who have been, entangled in a feisty political battle for about 3 years right now. Well, at the end of the first round of election that held on the 10th of April 2022, Mr. Macron garnered a total of 9,783,058 votes to total 27.85% of the votes, and Mrs. Marine Le Pen came second from the far-right party with 8,133,828 votes, totaling 23.15% of the votes. So these two top candidates will actually slug it out in the second round of elections on the 24th day in the month of April 2022. That's all I can bring for you. My name is Ajibola Samuel. It was, of course, a very big pleasure doing this. Join me again same time, same station for another exciting edition of the show when I bring you the various news and packages that made headlines throughout the world. Yeah, I'm Ajibola Samuel once again. Have a wonderful Easter celebration ahead of you. Stay safe. Au revoir. I will leave you with the voice of what Mr. Emmanuel Macron had to say, and of course Miss Marine Le Pen had to say after the first round of election in France.